Chapter 61 Battleship Shiji. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The poisonous mist released by Titan is limited to the port. As long as you don't get close, nothing will happen. If it was really careless, then you can only be blamed for your bad luck. They had already planned to leave, and the tools for leaving were taken away by Titan in advance. Outside the area shrouded in poisonous mist, it is impossible to see the internal situation. I saw the Titan enter the complete animal form, with the abyss-like mouth. A medium-sized naval battleship appeared, and crashed onto the sea. The huge impact caused large splashes of water, and the entire seawater on the shore was affected, causing waves. These items that are too large require Titan to fully transform into a beast before they can be stored. That's right, it's a naval battleship. Every large naval warship is a huge fortune, which is equivalent to high-end hard currency on the sea. Each one costs 40 million belly to build. Powerful firepower, capable of organizing 800 sailors. A medium-sized warship that can carry 200 sailors also requires 10 million belly. For the small one, 5 million belly is required. Asking the Titans to take them away without damaging the naval battleships was completely like robbing them of money. Let's not talk about the superior performance of the naval warship itself. If it is sold, it will make a huge sum of money. For all the forces on the sea, the franchise countries are very sought after. This is also the basis for the navy to be based on the sea and have an advantage over pirates in naval battles in most cases. Even if you have money and want to buy it, it is difficult to buy it. Taking out this medium-sized naval warship was not because Hades and the others wanted to drive this ship. In this day and age, it is impossible for just two people to sail a boat. All that is needed is a small boat inside a medium-sized battleship. Take out the small boat, and then swallow the medium-sized battleship into the Tautai space again. Hades doesn't want to expose this kind of ability for the time being, and wants to keep it as mysterious as possible. The boat left the port and sailed towards the next island, accompanied by poisonous fog, like a ghost ship. Just after Hades left, restoration work began on Kent Island, building buildings damaged by the battle and corroded by poisonous fog. At the same time, tacit fights and struggles began. This is a big reshuffle, and many forces have suffered considerable losses. Even if most of the Navy's high-end combat capabilities were eliminated by Hades and Titans, the remaining Navy would not be an easy nut to crack. In this case, some people hope that the interests of the island can be redivided. The only thing that can be relied on is war and one's own strength. In the chaotic underground world, this situation is normal. Every fluctuation will be a reshuffle of forces. What depends is how wide the impact of the fluctuation is. Even those pirates were either hired by underground forces to participate in the war, or they directly fished in troubled waters. A figure flew quickly through the air and came to the top of Kent Island. Looking down from the top, you can have a clear view of the island. Is the battle over? That the smoke filled the air, and large areas of buildings were destroyed, a devastation similar to that caused by corrosive force. There were corpses wearing Navy uniforms, which seemed to be quite a number, but based on these alone, you still can't tell what happened. How is the situation? Landing from the air in the middle of the street, his invisible domineering presence attracts the attention of others like a halo. This lion ghost. Why would such a big shot come here? That the moment they saw his figure, everyone was stunned, their eyes widened, and their bodies and minds were involuntarily affected by Shiji's power. Wearing a yellow kimono, with two swords at his waist, he has short golden hair, but does not yet have the thick long hair like a lion in the future. But now he already has a hint of the domineering power that will dominate mountains and rivers in the future. Yes, it was Shiji who came. He did not appear to be in perfect condition, and had quite a few injuries on his body. It can be seen that he also experienced a hard battle before coming here. Tell me what happened on this island. Shiji's eyes fell on a pirate and asked in a deep voice. The pirate who was targeted by Shiji suddenly felt his heart in his throat, and he couldn't say anything because he was frightened. Okay, seeing this scene, Shiji snorted coldly and glanced at him. A flash of sword light flashed, and he drew out the long knife from his waist at a speed that was imperceptible to the naked eye and slashed through the pirate's body. In the eyes of others, before Shiji's movements could be seen clearly, blood spattered, and a blood mark appeared on the pirate's waist, which was then divided into two halves. My patience is limited. Please tell me what happened before. That the terrifying power made their bodies unable to move. there is no doubt that if he slows down a little bit, everyone present will be killed by Shiji, the cruel and domineering pirate style. This is Shiji. Now, in order to save their own lives, everyone rushed to tell what they knew about the situation. Soon, Shiji most likely understood all the situation. Mainly about Hades and Titans, hearing that they easily defeated the Vice Admiral. Shiji had an excited smile on his face. Chia ha ha ha. It's such a pity that I couldn't meet him. You know, he came here with all his strength after completing his mission, but I didn't expect the son of Jaeger to resolve the battle so quickly. It seemed to be another monster, which only made him feel even more excited. Another monster is about to board the Rock's pirates ship. No, it should be two. But we will meet soon. It was a pity that Shiji couldn't see Hades. However, he was very satisfied with the result, and he began to listen to the legend of death god Jaeger very early. Moreover, he knew exactly what the guys from the Rock's pirates were thinking. If Hades was too weak, it would be impossible to stay on the ship properly in the future. I believe some people will be disappointed. It seems that some interesting things will happen. There are many pirates who want to use Hades as a stepping stone. After getting the news he wanted, Shiji left Kent Island without staying any longer. Chapter 62: A world government whose prestige has been damaged. You are listening at novelfull.audio. And on the other side, on the vast sea, there is a group of reefs, and General Day Tiger Davis looks unusually embarrassed. Damn Shiji, I must kill you. Davis was extremely angry and was sniped by Lion Ghost Shiji on his way to Kent Island. Davis is stronger, but in the air battle, facing Shiji who has the ability of Piao fruit, it is impossible to suppress him. During the battle with Shiji, it was difficult to take his battleship into consideration. In the end, he watched helplessly as his battleship was destroyed by Shiji, and all the sailors on board except him were wiped out and sank into the sea. This battle was an absolute shame for him, being made so embarrassed by a mere junior. In his opinion, Shiji was just taking advantage of his abilities. Davis's hatred for Shiji has reached its extreme, and he attacks the weak. You must know that the sailors who died were all his own soldiers and have followed him for many years. What he has to do now is to find the nearest island and wait for the navy to rescue him. How is this possible? Brack couldn't believe it, and his right hand holding the pen couldn't help but tremble. Things went beyond his expectation, and the news one after another made him unable to believe the facts. First, General Day Tiger suffered heavy losses when facing Shiji, and only one person survived. How long has it been? Shiji was just a little famous when he joined the Rock's pirates, but now he has grown to this point in just a few years. I thought that the headquarters had paid enough attention to Lion Demon Shiji, but I didn't expect that in the end. I misjudged Shiji's strength. According to Davis's description, Shiji also seems to have gained abilities similar to floating fruits. This makes the threat of Shiji even greater, and he has become the Navy's formidable enemy. The battle situation on Kent Island shocked him even more. The Navy had intelligence personnel on Kent Island. As early as when the battle situation reached an extreme disadvantage, Brack issued an order to abandon the operation and retreat, but it was of no use. The warships surrounding the island were swallowed up by the Titans one after another. I remembered the voice that came before the phone bug hung up. Not good. We are surrounded by special fog. It's so uncomfortable. It's so painful. Monster. Monster. Phantom beast species. Through the only information, Marshal Brack determined the hidden ability of Hades's guard. What troubled him even more was that Hades and the guard whose name he didn't know were too strong, and each of them was a monster among monsters. Lieutenant General Henry and Lieutenant General Cassius had no ability to resist in the hands of the guard holding the double hammer. Lieutenant General Vic was almost completely suppressed by Jaeger's son. Are these descriptions too hard for him to believe? Because they were defeated so quickly, there was no news of their retreat. Could it be that a natural monster like Charlotte Lingling has appeared again? Due to limited intelligence, Brack's knowledge of Jaeger's son and his bodyguards was very limited. This time the Navy suffered heavy losses, thousands of sailors, 3 vice admirals, and many naval officers. He even slapped the Navy hard on the face. A series of combination punches caught him off guard. You must know that this was a confident operation by the Navy, but it ultimately failed. Far underestimated the strength of Jaeger's son, nor did they take into account the Rock's pirates' reaction when they got the news, leading to the current situation. the Rocks pirates have appeared, and the target they want to plunder is the Kingdom of Crodia, one of the countries that joins the world government. It is located at the front of the New World, close to the Red Earth continent and the Southern Calm Zone. The Kingdom of Crodia is a powerful country in the New World, with an army of 1.5 million, including nearly general-level warriors and even top-notch combat power. However, there was no resistance in front of the Rocks pirates. The entire kingdom was plundered, as early as the first time. The Kingdom of Crodia asked the world government for help. However, the navy did not take any action. Or in other words, it only took superficial actions. Originally, they wanted to hand over the son of Jaeger to the world government and the affiliated countries. Now there is no explanation for this situation. You must know that he had a guaranteed fight with Wulaoxing, and now he only feels that his face hurts. Fortunately, the royal family of the Kingdom of Crodia has fled the Kingdom of Crodia, taking with them the elites of the Kingdom of Crodia and some of its treasures. No one among the well-informed forces in the New World does not know how terrifying the Rocks pirates are, because there are too many typical cases. After receiving the news, the royal family of the Kingdom of Crodia issued an order to escape. They sent ordinary soldiers to delay, and finally escaped to the Red Earth continent with the support of the Navy and the Red Earth continent army. As for the others, the royal family of the Kingdom of Crodia does not care. As long as they are still there, the Kingdom of Crodia will be there. The kingdom's important combat capabilities were not damaged. In the future, the world government will naturally help the Kingdom of Crodia recover. This is what the world government must do and has an obligation to do. Every loss of a world government member country is a heavy loss for the world government, equivalent to the loss of a piece of heavenly gold. The losses and trauma caused to the franchised countries are irreparable. Besides, what's the point of joining a world government that can't even protect the participating countries? Now that everyone is watching, Brack can already imagine the protests of the alliance countries against the Navy and the world government. The Navy's inaction will certainly make them a target. No one would trust a Navy that was afraid of pirates. Yes, in the eyes of others, this is the Navy's fear of the Rocks pirates, but can he say that's it? Over the years, as the Navy faced the disadvantages of the Rocks pirates, the participating countries have always been distrustful of the Navy. Although he has not broken away from the world government, he has been arming his own forces overtly or covertly. Purchase a large amount of high-end arms produced by Vulcan Company and Function Company to strengthen the connection with the Kingdom of Kronos. Some retired Navy soldiers were even invited to train strong men for the kingdom. All these manifestations of strengthening one's own strength represent distrust of the Navy. Everyone has a sense of crisis. This is caused by the relatively calm sea in recent years. With the activation of the Rocks pirates, this situation will become more and more serious. When the trust crisis of the franchised countries reaches a certain level, there will be no need for the world government to exist. The Kingdom of Crodia is a powerful country in the New World and has considerable influence around the world. Among the many franchised countries, it is also at the forefront of national strength. Even such a kingdom was destroyed. What about other kingdoms? What does this make them think? The active scope of the Rocks pirates has never been limited to the New World. All the four seas and the first half of the Great Line have been invaded by the Rocks pirates. If the Navy and the world government admit defeat, then the entire world will not be able to stop the Rocks pirates. Now something like this happened again, completely breaking Brack's original calculation. At this moment, a confidential telephone bug on Brack's desk rang. Brack's expression immediately became very serious, and he felt nervous inside. Because this is a telephone bug, it is connected to the Holy Land Marie Joa, the power hall where the highest power is concentrated, and the office of the 5 Old Stars. Chapter 63 5 Old Star Qiao Bellosheng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Gudong. Marshal Brack swallowed, with a bit of distress at the corner of his mouth, because he knew that the 5 Old Stars were here to ask questions. After answering the call, Brack couldn't help lowering his head and keeping his posture very low. Brack, is this the explanation you said you would give us? A cold and majestic voice sounded from the phone bug, tinged with a hint of anger. I'm so sorry. Joe Bellosheng. It's my fault. Brack did not make any excuses. Failure in action is failure, no reason is needed. While speaking, Brack lowered his head. It is unimaginable that a majestic naval marshal could be so humble. This is a kind of respect. The voice of the 5 Old Stars who spoke is a bit old, and he is the most virtuous and respected among the 5 old stars today, Saint Cristo Gibello, who was born in the Cristo family. He has held the longest position of the 5 old stars and is 158 years old. It can be said that both Brack himself and the previous admirals were under the tenure of Joe Bellosheng. I will be leaving office in 2 years. I never expected that such bad things would happen again during my tenure. Take remedial measures immediately. Show the attitude of the Navy and the world government, otherwise, you will not be a Marshal of the Navy. That the reason why Brack was chosen to be the Navy Marshal was not only because of his strength, but more importantly because he was obedient enough, in the past 2 years, in order to support the Navy's ability to fight against the Rocks pirates. The world government has continuously invested nearly 100 billion belly in recruiting troops, building naval fortresses, and naval battleships. Every year, the Navy's wages and pensions are astronomical. I thought the Navy could give them a satisfactory answer, but I didn't expect that it would bring them such beautiful news right from the beginning. No matter what, the Navy needs to answer to the world government and the participating countries. The world government also needs to answer to the participating countries. Yes. Joe Bellosheng, at his age, Brack had developed a thick skin, and he did not take the threat of Joe Bellosheng to heart. In the current situation, it is impossible for the world government to remove him from this position. There are too many things to consider. Despite this, Marshal Brack was still under a lot of pressure, and it was impossible not to feel nervous, because next, the pressure the Navy will face will become even greater, and after this incident, the Navy must also take action. It must confront the Rocks pirates head-on and show its own attitude. Of course, we must also avoid Rocks Gibak and the Rocks pirates who are gathering strength. Thinking of this, Blake turned on the phone bug. Marshal, what happened? Sora knew something was going on when he received Brack's call. Briefly described the failure of this operation. That's it. Go get Davis back and prepare for the next battle. No need to say more. Sora already understood what Brack meant. They need a target that is powerful, the main figure of the Rocks pirates, and a major threat. Use him to tell the world that the government and the navies of the participating countries can still be trusted. The Navy is not afraid of the Rocks pirates and has the power to fight against the Rocks pirates. Avoid the Rocks pirates, the overall enemy. Eliminate the main members of the Rocks pirates, and weaken the Rocks pirates step by step. This was the best way he could think of, because the Navy was indeed no match for the Rocks pirates. The truly assembled Rocks pirates are absolutely unstoppable unless the world government uses its hidden power. But there are some forces that even the 5 old stars are difficult to mobilize before they truly threaten themselves. Who could have imagined that the situation of the Navy in this era would be so difficult? The sudden emergence of Rocks Gibak put the Navy and the world government into an embarrassing situation. With the strongest strength, he suppressed a group of ambitious monsters. Everyone knows that Rocks Gibak is the true core of the Rocks pirates. Everyone knows that the easiest way to deal with the Rocks pirates is to kill Rocks Gibak. As long as Rocks Gibak is eliminated, the entire Rocks pirates will fall apart. The various pirates within the Rocks pirates are full of contradictions and serious internal strife, and it is impossible to unite again. By then, it will be much easier for the Navy to deal with pirates who are as scattered as sand. The premise of all this is to be able to solve the Rocks pirates. Haven't you tried being a world government? All methods such as assassination and poisoning were used. He even deliberately used a beauty trap. During the entertainment process of Rocks, the woman cultivated by the world government contained poison in her body, poison that touches death. It failed in the end. Although I don't know the process, I can roughly guess it. At this level, Rocks Gibak's knowledge has already reached its peak. The premonition of danger and the ability to predict the future can perfectly avoid this. The world government even arranged for a person with the same fate fruit ability. As the name suggests, the only ability is to connect the life of the Esper with another person. Once the person with the ability dies, the person locked by the same fate fruit ability will also die. The fruit of Tongming has killed a top combat power in history, but it failed in the case of Rocks Gibak. The extremely tyrannical and armed domineering power had already exceeded its limit. The law of cause and effect devil fruit ability can even resist bugs like the same life fruit. And that person with abilities just died in vain. As for instigating various cadres of the Rocks pirates, the relationship between the main members, it makes no sense at all. These pirates are directly fighting each other and betraying each other. There is no trust at all on this ship, and it is extremely chaotic. Everything is within control, because Roxy Jibek has absolute strength and suppresses all of this. Things are back to square one. The main strategy of the Navy now is to eliminate the main members of the Rox pirates one by one and continuously weaken the Rox pirates. At the same time, the overall strength of the Navy will be enhanced. As expected of my son, Nix was very pleased to receive the news, and there was an excited Ananke beside him. From beginning to end, they had absolute confidence in Hades. It's perfect to start his debut with such results. Also getting the news was the Rox pirates. The entire kingdom of Croatia was filled with smoke, countless pirates burned, killed and looted wantonly in the kingdom of Croatia. The royal palace with the most wealth, the palaces of various nobles, and other courtyards were all occupied by the Rox pirates, continuously plundering treasures, enjoying the unprecedented big action in many years. The pirates reveled wantonly on the island and held a grand banquet. The venue for the banquet was the palace of the kingdom of Croatia, hills of dazzling treasures. Each pirate wore jewelry and gold accessories, drank wine, and danced happily. This is a carnival belonging to pirates, reactivating the predatory nature of the Rox pirates that has been dormant for a long time. Even though most of the treasures are owned by those powerful pirates, the treasure distributed to ordinary members is also a huge wealth, enough to live comfortably for a long time. Wealth comes too easily for the members of the Rox pirates. Because of this, countless pirates want to join the Rox pirates every year. Even if many people will die from it, but in this sea, there is never a shortage of people who don't care about life and death, willing to sacrifice everything for a future. And this is the charm of the sea. Everyone has to pay the price for their choices. If they succeed, they will have everything they want. If they fail, they will just return to the sea. Chapter 64 Contradictions. You are listening at novelfull.audio. That boy really didn't disappoint me. Then come quickly. Rox felt a little happy, and on such an occasion, he got such news again. What does this mean? The Rox pirates will have another general. Roxy Jibek has extremely huge ambitions, and mere maritime supremacy can no longer satisfy his requirements. What he really wants to be is the king of the world. His goal is always world government, but he knows how powerful the world government is. Even if the Rox pirates reach the point where they can suppress the navy, they still need to accumulate more power. Therefore, he is happy to see young pirates rise from the Rox pirates. The entire ship is based on strength, and it is difficult for naive guys to survive on the ship. It is common for partners to fight each other to resolve conflicts. This huge platform is like a goo breeding farm, raising goo kings one after another. Shiji and Edward Newgate are the most perfect masterpieces of the Rox pirates in recent years. Shiki's cruel style demonstrates what a true pirate is. Edward Newgate had beautiful ideals, but that didn't mean he was a naive man. Their terrifying potential and strength make them stand out from many pirates. As for Charlotte Lingling, she was a born monster and established herself in the Rox pirates right away. There are countless losers among them, and there are many pirates with potential or second only to Shiji and Newgate, but failure is failure, and too many young pirates died as a result. Potential does not mean that you can really reach that level, nor does it mean that you can really transform your potential into strength. But it is under such severe internal friction that real monsters can be tempered. Using treasure as an introduction and cruel style, they created the Rox pirates, a gathering place for monsters. And the outbreak of this storm has just begun. The Rox pirates' first action, which had been dormant for many years, destroyed the kingdom of Croatia, one of the powerful nations of the New World. This news certainly deserves to be on the front page of the newspapers spread throughout the world. The wave of fear continues to spread to the entire world, and some ill-informed franchise countries are even more horrified. Continuously put pressure on the world government and the Navy. As the Navy headquarters transferred the elites of the Four Seas Navy, the strength of the entire Four Seas Navy was seriously weakened. This situation directly caused the world to become more chaotic and the pirates' power expanded. The continuous looting process caused countless tragedies. During this process, I don't know how many people were forced to go to sea to become pirates. However, once you embark on this path, it is difficult to return to peace. As a result, more people's families were destroyed, the sea became more chaotic, and the number of pirates increased. The power of the underworld continues to strengthen and expand. This is a reincarnation, a trend, unless someone can stand up to maintain order in the sea. This cannot be achieved by relying solely on the navy in the four seas, and the navy's current energy is in the New World, and it is simply unable to mobilize troops to regulate order in the four seas. The joining countries purchased arms to arm the kingdom's forces. In order to deal with such a situation, with the navy's incompetence, the only one they can rely on is themselves. At the same time, the alliance countries' resistance to the world government and the navy has become increasingly fierce, and they want to force the world government to take a stand by reducing the sky gold, get rid of the rocks pirates as soon as possible and return the sea to its original order. The world government further demands to increase the share of heavenly gold during this period. The reason is naturally that against the powerful rocks pirates, the navy has fallen into a weak position and hopes that the participating countries will give more support. This attitude of the world government makes the participating countries very dissatisfied. The expansion and growth of the rocks pirates are essentially the responsibility of the world government and the incompetence of the navy. Under such circumstances, they dared to push even further and use the rocks pirates to threaten them. They will not accept the threat, but they will not abandon their support for the world government. After all, the only ones who can deal with the rocks pirates are the world government and the navy. Without the world government and the navy standing in the way, no one can really stop the rocks pirates, unless they are willing to surrender to the pirates. The lessons of the kingdom of Crotia are vivid in our minds, and many kingdoms were destroyed at the hands of the rocks pirates in the past, although the kingdom was later restored with the help of the world government. Is this reconstructed kingdom still the original kingdom? It is common for national power to be several times weaker than before. Some even directly re-established a kingdom on another island, which is equivalent to starting over. No one wants to face that situation. What a shame it is to abandon your own kingdom and flee. Even if you regain your kingdom later, you still don't have a solid foundation for rule, and riots often occur. This is an anxious negotiation, and matters related to the rocks pirates and sky gold will be discussed at the World Conference. However, the franchised countries will not give up their pursuit of their own interests and compromise easily with the world government. Their combined power is huge, and behind them are powerful countries like the Kingdom of Kronos that are opponents of the world government, and the superpowers secretly support them. At the same time, he also takes this opportunity to expand his influence. These countries are fully capable of resisting pirates and can even send troops to help other kingdoms. In terms of confidence, they are still very sufficient. Moreover, the gold and the sky is in their hands, which means that the initiative is in their hands. What needs to be urgent is the world government. Because they are facing the pressure of the rocks pirates, the world needs order, and the existence of a world government is indeed of great significance. Chapter 65 Targeting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Its existence is of great help to the maintenance of world order, especially the navy, which works hard to catch pirates and protect the trade routes of franchised countries. In contrast, fighting against the rocks pirates is their common desire. A chaotic world is something no one wants to see. While supporting the world government, we can also take advantage of this opportunity to weaken the power of the world government. The vision when the world government was established was good and played an important role in world peace and order. Now, the actions of the world government are gradually becoming more and more rampant, especially some actions that make the participating countries very dissatisfied. It is necessary to take the opportunity to suppress, and at the same time, it is also necessary to grasp the degree of control. This discussion about self-interest is about to begin. There are quite a few franchise countries that have close ties with the world government. Each franchise country and the world government have their own hidden agendas and their own demands. The Navy of the New World has an absolute backbone with the arrival of General Cyborg Sora, but apart from training, there are no other actions. The Navy needs to wait for a suitable opportunity to avoid a collision with Rox, who is gathering strength. Although Sora is a hawk, he also understands the advantages and disadvantages of the Navy and the Rox pirates. Marshal Brack was at the rear, resisting pressure from all sides, allowing him to do whatever he wanted. Military training, using the little pirates of the New World to train the young Navy in the army. With these military achievements, he constantly promotes his own people. Strengthening the Navy's strength lasted for half a month. In half a month, the patience of the world government and many participating countries has reached its limit. Finally, the Navy took action. Sora, this operation must be successful. You should know what we're facing. In just half a month, Marshal Brack seemed to have aged several years. All parties were putting pressure on the navy, and he could only handle it all by himself. Now the time has finally arrived. In half a month, the power of the Rock's pirates has gradually dispersed, sailing in the sea, or returning to the territory of their own pirate group. Not all the pirates of the Rock's pirates stay on Beehive Island. Many of the cadres have their own territory. In addition to being a member of the Rock's pirates, he is also the captain of a pirate group. In other words, the rising stars of the Rock's pirates do not have their own territory. Even if he established his own force, it would be within the Rock's pirates. Most of the pirates who have territory are pirates who became famous in the early days of the Rock's pirates establishment, or who became famous before their establishment. The famous ones are of course the three kings of the same era as Rock's. Werewolf Quero, the captain of the werewolf pirates, is based in the Moonlight Sea with Moonlight Island as its core in the north-central part of the New World. Golden King Donovan, captain of the Golden Pirates, is based in the Golden Sea in the north of the New World. Donovan, who controls the most wealth of the Rock's pirates, has the largest number of pirates under his protection. There is a golden island in the Golden Sea. Once a gold mine was discovered on this island. It is famous for it, but later the gold mines were excavated and the island gradually declined. It is said that Donovan relied on the power of his golden fruit to discover some deeply hidden gold mines under the abandoned gold mine pile. At the same time, a golden castle was built on the island. King of Violence Kosa, the captain of the violent pirates, is the king of a pirate kingdom in the middle of the New World. The entire pirate kingdom was built on the corpse of a non-joining country, and the nobles and royal family of the entire kingdom became sacrifices to Kosa. Kosa, who admired strength, built a huge arena within the kingdom for pirates to fight each other. Several of them were the overlords of the sea before Rock's established the Rock's pirates. As for the other death gun, Leon, he is a lone ranger with the ability to penetrate fruits and is the world's best gunman. Leon is extremely powerful, even the most threatening among the kings. He possesses very powerful physical skills, which are perfectly integrated with his own marksmanship. Whether it is close combat or long-range attack, Leon has no flaws at all, but is full of deadly threats. Under normal circumstances, Leon would stay on Beehive Island and occasionally go out for a walk, and below that, there are many pirates who later joined the Rock's pirates. Although some big pirates have joined the Rock's pirates, it does not mean that their pirate groups have disbanded. The territory that originally belonged to them is still under their control, but it belongs to the Rock's pirates in name only. Under normal circumstances, unless there is a special operation, they will not stay with the Rock's pirates and maintain a high degree of autonomy. Of course, once the Rock's pirates give an order, they must participate, otherwise they will be greeted by absolute destruction. There have been several such lessons, and all of them were destroyed by the Rock's pirates personally, in a very cruel way. The Navy has already chosen the target they will target, the Demolition Wendigo of the Rock's pirates. Demolisher Wendigo is a superhuman explosive fruit user and the captain of the Demolition Pirates. An incredibly cruel thug who loves nothing more than using his ability to watch other people's heads explode into pieces. He even likes to pile corpses into a mountain, and then watch the beautiful scenery of each corpse being blown away. Matching his behavior is his strong personal strength, with a bounty of up to 620 million Baileys. Not only does he possess the powerful devil fruit ability of the explosive fruit, he is also very good at fighting with his proficiency in two-color hockey, except for him, all the members of the Demolition Pirates are bomb maniacs, very fond of causing destruction, regardless of ability or style. The Demolisher Wendigo is a target that the Navy must eradicate. His outstanding reputation was also one of the main reasons why the Navy found him in trouble. More importantly, the Wendigo's territory, Fire Island, is relatively far from Hatchinos. As long as the Navy is fast enough, the Rock's pirate support will not be able to arrive. Chapter 66 Demolition Wendigo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Navy is going to start a counterattack. But I don't know who the target is. Several warships of the Navy secretly sailed to the sea, led by General Day Tiger Davis. The news reached Hades secretly. He was in a tavern, a glass of red wine was gently swaying in his hand, and the pirates around him didn't dare to get close. With the end of the Battle of Kent Island, Hades' bounty reached 120 million belly for the first time, and Titan also has a bounty of 100 million belly. It can be said that Hades and the two have completely become famous, stepping on the head of the Vice Admiral to reach the sky in one step. the vast majority of pirates did not dare to provoke them easily. The corpses of the few who thought of using them as pedals were already hanging outside the door. He was a little curious about which unlucky guy was targeted by the Navy. Now that we have taken action, we will definitely be absolutely sure. After all, the Navy has intelligence and initiative and can allocate combat power in a targeted manner. Accidents like Hades's were rare. As for the reaction of the Rock's pirates when they got the news, since they were unable to determine the target that the Navy wanted to target, they could only say no. The structure of the Rock's pirates means that they have always been proactive, and the efficiency of passive defense is extremely low. Besides, he doesn't even know his target, so he can only act like a headless fly. The pirates obviously don't have that much patience, not to mention that the friendship between the members of the Rock's pirates is pitiful. Who would be willing to conflict with the Navy over a pirate who has nothing to do with him? Hades didn't care about this. Along the way, they were rushing to Hatchinos. There were still about 5 days to go before they could reach the headquarters of the Rock's pirates. Let's go, Titan. Hades was covered with a black cloak, covering his body, with a strange sickle leaning on his back. Like the god of death on earth, Titan was still wearing armor, and the 2 hammers hanging on his sides did not affect his movements at all. 3 naval warships quietly arrived in the waters where Fire Island is located. Oops, Captain. The Navy is coming. Demolisher Wendigo was celebrating excitedly with the crew, his arms wrapped around 2 beauties in cool clothes. Suddenly, this shocking news came, and everyone in the entire banquet venue suddenly woke up. Captain, let's quickly go to the Rock's pirates for help. One member said anxiously. Although the Navy can only temporarily avoid the edge in front of the Rock's pirates, this is the Rock's pirates, which does not mean it is them. The Navy is still a behemoth to them, and their hearts tremble after hearing this. Since the Navy dares to come over, it will definitely send a very powerful combat force, and the target is them. It's useless, it's already too late. Wendigo shook his head. He knew exactly what kind of urine the guy on the ship had, and he was the same. With that said, Wendigo stood up and threw the woman in his arms aside. The 2 women fled in panic. The Navy arrived. If they continued to stay here, they would probably be affected. Children, we are ready to evacuate. Wendigo shouted loudly. Where there is life, there is hope. That's right, run. I haven't even spent all my treasure. That the entire banquet venue was chaotic yet orderly. Time was running out, and every pirate was holding something important to them. There is no shame in running away from the Navy. Fixed strike. Destroy all ships that can be seen along the coast and cut off the bombers' hope of escaping. General Day Tiger issued the order. Davis did not allow this mission to fail. The failure of the last mission made him extremely embarrassed, and his prestige within the Navy also declined. Yes. General. If the improvement of artillery accuracy is most beneficial to anyone, it is naturally the Navy. The Navy's systematic training is enough to cultivate a large number of outstanding gunners, and some seemingly ordinary sailors were promoted because of their outstanding abilities in artillery. This has greatly improved the Navy's firepower at sea, and the status of gunners has also begun to gradually improve. The real battlefield for gunners is actually the lower overall strength of sea high end. The first half of the Great Rout, boom. 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 With just 3 rounds of artillery, all the ships at the Fire Island dock were destroyed, and the explosives pirates who came in a hurry looked ugly one after another. Ask for help from the Rock's pirates quickly. Wendigo said to his men. He selectively forgot what he had said before. He had already seen who the leader of the Navy was, General Day Tiger Davis. At this time, he could only fight to the death and pin his hopes on the support of the Rock's pirates. As long as the Rock's pirate support arrives, he has a chance to survive. Just maintain the firepower and bombardment here. No need to worry about my existence. Davis gave an order, and one person ejected like a cannonball on the moon step, quickly rushing towards the Fire Island, intending to deal with the Demolition pirates by himself. The Navy's firepower will continue to bombard and destroy the pirate group. When the shells are used up, the Demolition pirates and the pirates on the island will be almost solved. At that time, let the Navy come to the shore to clean up, which can minimize the losses, and he has confidence in his own strength and doesn't need to care about the damage that cannonballs can cause him. With the previous lessons learned, Davis was very strict with himself to complete this operation perfectly. In the entire Demolition pirates, the only one he could take seriously was the demolisher Wendigo. Wendigo, you can't leave. Just follow me to Impel Prison and spend the rest of your life. That is your final destination. Davis stared at the Wendigo, exuding a terrifying aura like a beast. The members of the Explosion Pirates felt tremendous pressure, as if they were being targeted by something terrible. Davis's body gradually changed. His body grew taller, his body became stronger, his muscles bulged, golden hair grew on his body, and a tail grew out of his back. His hands turned into sharp claws, and the two fangs like saber teeth seemed to be able to tear everything apart. From the beginning, Davis never thought about holding back. The reason why he suffered a big loss in the hands of Shiji had a lot to do with him underestimating Shiji at the beginning. Now, he just wants to get rid of the destroyer Wendigo quickly. Hiratora, the guy who was humiliated by Shiji boy, what right do you have to scream in front of me? Losers don't lose. Even though Wendigo is at a disadvantage in front of Davis, his mouth is still sharp, and what he said was right. He was also Shiji's senior in the Rocks Pirates, and he would have joined the Rocks Pirates a few years earlier. However, Shiji caught up in just a few years and became equal to him. He had no problem saying this in the past, and that was here. If Shiki heard it in the Rocks Pirates, he would have to have a good fight. As soon as these words came out, Davis's face instantly darkened. Wendigo's words directly dug into Davis's pain, which was equivalent to directly spreading salt on his heart. Now the Wendigo has officially become his second most hated pirate. There were no words, only actions to express his anger at this moment. An afterimage stayed on the spot, and Davis quickly rushed towards the Wendigo. The sharp claws cut through the air, and the flowing arm domineering force made the claws harder than steel. The Wendigo had already felt the edge and was not panicked by it. Armed with domineering energy and fists, he instinctively punched the approaching Davis. In terms of the quality of his arm domineering power, he is not as good as Davis, and in terms of his use of domineering skills, he is also weaker than Davis. However, he has the ability to explode fruits, and in terms of destructive power, he has never been inferior to anyone. Chapter 67 Big Bang. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There was a strong smell of gunpowder in the air. The moment the two people came into contact, the air exploded in an instant, and hot white light filled everyone's eyes. The pirates who knew their captain's ability ran far away from the beginning, because the ability to explode fruits cannot be precisely controlled when used. The greater the power of the explosion, the wider the range. Both figures were engulfed by the strong impact of the explosion and collision. The two figures flew out together during the explosion. However, there were no injuries on either of them. Davis, who was covered in armor and domineering, directly withstood the impact of the explosion. The little turmoil is nothing compared to his powerful physique. As a person with abilities, Wendigo will not be hurt by his own abilities. Davis's powerful blow was also weakened by the powerful destructive power produced by the explosion. For Wendigo, the best defense is offense. In a head-on confrontation, he is not weaker than Davis. The war was about to break out, and the two began a fierce confrontation. One wants to delay the time to wait for rescue, and the other wants to defeat the opponent in a short time and capture him. The Rocks Pirates also received news from the Demolition Pirates. The Demolisher Wendigo had to be saved. In Rocks D. Gibek's view, although the Wendigo could not compare with Shiji, Newgate and others, he would still be a great general in a few years. Besides, the Demolition Pirates are a pirate group affiliated with the Rocks Pirates. If they don't save them, what will others think? Even if you are unsuccessful, you still need to show your attitude. Does anyone want to rescue the Wendigo? Faced with Rocks D. Gibek's inquiry, the pirates gathered around said nothing. No one wants to have a conflict with the Navy over another person, and besides, this is a Navy admiral. What if he gets caught up with him? Moreover, there are many members who have some problems with Wendigo, and they are gloating that Wendigo has become the unlucky guy. The Navy would counterattack, as they expected. Some smart pirates stayed in Hatchinos and the surrounding waters during this period to avoid the Navy's attack. Then let me do it. It's just a good time to try out the new knife and have a fight with that guy Davis. Shiji stood up again, wearing his new weapons on his waist, two top-notch swords found in the noble collections of the Kingdom of Crotia. Sakuragi and Kuju rank among the top 21 swordsmen. After returning to Hatchinos, someone sent them up. Shiji was very satisfied with these two knives. However, many people still know Shiji's true purpose. As his strength and status increased, Shiji's prestige in the Rocks Pirates became higher and higher. He started forming cliques within the Rocks Pirates early and already has considerable power. With his astonishing growth rate and unique personal charm, many pirates valued Shiji's potential and gradually attached themselves to Shiji's protection, being able to stand up for his comrades and proactively provoke the admiral. This kind of strength and confidence is very popular among pirates. The prestige of the Rocks Pirates has begun to be compared with that of John, Silver Axe, and Wang Ji, Locks D. Jibek didn't care about this scene because he was confident of suppressing everything. Shiji has just developed now. Above Shiji, there are more powerful monsters such as John, Silver Axe, Wang Ji, and the Four Kings. In the setting, John, Silver Axe, and Wang Ji are about 10 years older than Shiki and Edward Newgate. They joined the Rocks Pirates 10 years earlier and were newcomers who joined the Rocks Pirates in the early stages of their establishment. Although it may be too late in time, Demolisher Wendigo is most likely hopeless, but with Shiji's character, he will not go in vain. And that was Locks D. Jibek's intention. Inform others of this news. The Navy will definitely not only deal with Wendigo. There should be other targets. The Navy only sent one admiral, but now the New World has 3 admirals and 20 vice-admirals, 4 of which are alternate admirals. 18 fortresses in the New World correspond to 18 lieutenant generals, plus the 5 sent by the headquarters, minus the 3 who died in battle. There are 20. The Navy has 46 fortresses, which does not mean there are 46 vice-admirals. The 13 naval fortresses in the New World are newly built, that is, 33, of which 20 come from all over the world. In addition, the Navy headquarters has 27 vice-admirals, 9 of whom are from the 4 seas. In order to resist the Sea faction's occupation of the headquarters power, it can only continuously promote young naval officers in the headquarters, forming a numerical rival to the 4 seas factions in the Navy headquarters. Suppression. In addition, in special times, more powerful combat power is urgently needed. In chaotic times, promotions are faster and there are more opportunities. In contrast, most of these naval vice-admirals are not too strong, just in terms of quantity. It looks scary. Such a powerful combat force is really powerful, and it is impossible for only one person to be dispatched. I've been reminded, if you don't take it seriously, you deserve it. On Fire Island, the battle that lasted for 3 hours finally ended. Although Wendigo relies on the ability to explode fruits, it is not weaker than Davis in terms of destructive power. What he endured was the rapid consumption of physical strength. In comparison, Davis, who was stronger in physical skills and blessed with the ability of the ancient devil fruit, had far stronger endurance than the Wendigo. Go to hell. Navy, I will not give in. The Wendigo gasped for air, and the skin on his entire body turned red, especially his entire right arm, shining with red light and cracks like lava. He was going to use the method of lowering the box. Once he did it, the result would be completely irreversible, which also meant that the Wendigo had reached its limit and was forced into a desperate situation. Danger. He's going to blow himself up. Davis's expression changed, and he stared at the Wendigo's right arm that was almost burning, feeling a fatal threat. You can roughly guess what the Wendigo wants to do, but it was too late. The Wendigo had already rushed in front of Davis, and hit him with a punch that was almost burning with fire. Davis endured the punch, taking advantage of the impact of Wendigo's punch to try to distance himself from Wendigo. However, the Wendigo won't give him that chance. As soon as the fist came close to Davis's head, Davis's entire left arm turned into dust and dissipated in the air like withering. This was like an introduction, and the terrifying energy exploded in an instant, completely engulfing the two figures. In a short period of time, a terrifying explosion and an expanding red hemisphere swallowed up most of the island, with devastating destructive power. The Wendigo uses one of its arms as a carrier for the explosion, and the effect produced is astonishingly terrifying. Under such an explosion, the entire sea area was shaken, and the sea continued to set off huge waves. Chapter 68 Continuous Attacks. You are listening at novelfull.audio. General, the Navy on the warship looked at this scene in shock, and were already preparing for the worst. Suddenly, a Navy officer spotted a black shadow flying from the island and falling into the water during the explosion, and vaguely saw the broken cloak of justice. Hurry, rescue. Someone fell into the water, probably the general. Davis did not die. At the critical moment, he protected his whole body with armed domineering. Coupled with his strong vitality and body, he successfully survived this terrifying explosion. He just passed out. If someone hadn't discovered him, if no one had rescued him, he would probably have drowned in the sea. Even so, Davis was severely injured. Ahem. As soon as he opened his eyes, Davis endured the pain in his body, gritted his teeth and insisted on standing up. As soon as he was rescued, his body was briefly treated by the ship's doctor. Go to the island and take a look. Don't let that guy escape. But Lieutenant General, your injury? This is just a minor injury. Capturing the pirates is more important. Every inch of scorched earth on the island was emitting extremely high heat after the explosion. The Wendigo did not run away and was almost at its physical limit when it exploded. Because he had consumed too much energy, he was now unconscious, and his empty right arm was unable to resist. Catch him. Looking at the Wendigo losing its fighting power, Davis gave the order. In this way, Wendigo was defeated by Davis, handcuffed with Shanghai stone and captured alive. Let's retreat quickly. Davis doesn't want to stay any longer. The Rock's pirates must have received the news, and perhaps the sent support is on the way. Thinking of this, the figure of lion ghost Shiji appeared in his mind. If there is really someone, it is most likely Shiji. Although Davis wants revenge, his current state may put him at risk of losing his life. Having withstood the Wendigo's self-destruction blow, his combat effectiveness was really not much. Notify nearby naval branches to increase alert. Just as he expected, Shiki arrived at Fire Island an hour after they left. Is it over already? It's too late. Shiji had already had a premonition, and when he saw most of the island being destroyed and the huge basin appearing out of thin air, he still had some thoughts in his heart. The intensity of the battle seemed to be higher than he expected. Because Davis was seriously injured, there was no time to clean up the remaining pirates on the island. After asking the surviving pirates on the island, he got a rough idea of the situation. With Shiji's character, he wouldn't come in vain. If he doesn't do something, he will really become a post-war reporter. Then go to the nearest naval fortress, G-44 base. Even with Davis's reminder, the naval bases in the surrounding waters also followed suit. Facing the suppression of absolute strength, it has no effect at all. The base commander of G-44 Fortress, Vice Admiral Scholes, had no ability to resist the lion demon Shiji. Even the General Day Tiger would suffer in his hands. So how could this mere parallel imported lieutenant general from the East China Sea be able to fight against him? Scholes was violently killed by Shiji, and his head was chopped off with the famous sword Sakuragi. The entire naval fortress was slaughtered. Although Shiji has not yet grown his long hair, his cruel style has already shown the dominance of the Lion King. The Navy's special operations are not over yet. The Demolisher Wendigo is just the beginning. Merely capturing a big pirate would not be an effective blow to the morale of the pirates. The great pirate Demolisher Wendigo was personally captured by General Huntora, and the Demolition pirates were destroyed. The G-44 naval base was destroyed by Shiki Shiji, and Vice Admiral Scholes was beheaded. Two pieces of news came out one after another. With the news fermenting around the world, another big news broke in the New World. 2 days after the Fire Island incident broke out, General Shixiang Puyol also took action. In another area of the sea, a big pirate with a bounty of nearly 500 million belly was captured. Violent Bear Morant. This is a young and domineering pirate who is less than 30 years old, the captain of the Grizzly Pirates, and one of the cadres of the Rocks Pirates. He is the rising star of the Rocks Pirates who emerged several years before Shiki and Edward Newgate, has the potential to become the core force of the Rocks Pirates. Unfortunately, it seemed that his behavior was too arrogant, which led to him being targeted by the Navy and becoming its second target. His journey seems to be over. He will be imprisoned in the Impel prison, which has never been breached since its establishment. I don't know if there will be a chance to reappear in the sea, but in this era of the Rocks Pirates, nothing is impossible. 2 big pirates were captured by the Navy one after another, which greatly inspired the Navy. Such results are a bit surprising. For some people, they have not heard good news from the Navy for a long time, it's not over yet, and 2 days later, many people are still shocked by the news. They come from the West Sea and the North Sea respectively, and have great hopes in the two navies. Purple Lion Messi and White Rat Ronaldo took action together. The two vice-admirals defeated McGrady and Carter, who were known as the Pirate Brothers and had a bounty of more than 300 million belly. This battle further enhanced the reputation of the two men within the Navy. Naturally, the West Sea Navy and the Bahai Navy were behind this. Unlike most other vice-generals from all over the world, Messi and Ronaldo have strong strength. Their ability to become vice-generals relies on their own talent and strength. Moreover, they belong to the Four Seas faction, but they are lieutenant generals of the headquarters, not parallel imports from the Four Seas. Also powerful are General Evening Elephant Qiao, General Day Tiger Davis, General Substitute Cruy, and General Substitute Ferdinand. Even the Vice-Admiral of the Four Seas faction who is already in the Navy is a model of great strength. The Sea Navy can gain a firm foothold in the Navy headquarters and have huge influence, relying on its strength. In contrast, because Marshal Brack excessively promoted young vice-admirals, these vice-admirals were slightly lacking in strength and influence within the Navy. Marshal Black and General Cyborg Sora want to promote Garp and Sengoku to become the next generation of naval admiral candidates. Although the Sea Navy somewhat surrendered, it was obviously impossible for them to really give up. Continue to support the rise of Messi and Ronaldo, and there is a tendency for them to compete with Cap and Sengoku, who are optimistic about Sora and Brack. I want to be the first to become a general candidate based on my merits. The number of reserve positions for generals is not limited, but it cannot be too many. Now the Navy already has 4 candidates for generals, and there is still a long way to go to become a Navy general, so we can only place our hope on the young Navy. Chapter 69 Contradictory Competition. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Previously, the Navy's most promising players were Messi and Ronaldo. Now, Garp and Sengoku, who were drafted by the General Cyborg, have risen strongly, and they are even more outstanding. For this reason, in order to enhance the competitiveness of the two of them with Garp and Sengoku, Shihai Navy specially took out 2 rare and powerful devil fruits for Messi and Ronaldo to eat. You must know that all the top devil fruits in the Navy's secret vault were taken away by Sora, a natural. Hurricane fruit was given to someone unknown, and the Buddha fruit was undoubtedly eaten by the Warring States period. Such behavior has caused dissatisfaction among many people within the Navy, especially Messi and Ronaldo, who have long been eyeing these 2 devil fruits. Messi is interested in the Buddha fruit, and Ronaldo is interested in the hurricane fruit. As a result, they can only find other devil fruits. Phantom Beast Lightning Rat Fruit and Superman Dynamic Fruit. The support of the powerful countries of the Four Seas does not want to see the weakening of the navies of the Four Seas, which is conducive to safeguarding their interests and those of the Four Seas. He even extended his tentacles to the Navy headquarters. Nowadays, the power of the Four Seas Navy also allows them to see this potential. They constantly support the Four Seas Navy, want to make the Four Seas Navy theirs, and constantly collude with each other to compete with the Navy headquarters supported by the world government. Such behavior also caused dissatisfaction with the world government. If you were not careful, it would be developed to this extent by the Four Seas Navy. The connections with the various kingdoms of the Four Seas have allowed the Four Seas Navy to be somewhat separated from the control of the world government and the Navy headquarters. The world government did not expect that while controlling the world with its navy, various kingdoms were also eroding the power of the navy and eroding the foundation of the world government. Behind the naval generals of the various Four Seas factions, there are no connections with certain joining countries. This situation is very bad for the world government. It represents the erosion of the foundations of world government. If this continues, the world government is likely to lose its largest base in the world. It will also shake the dominance of the world government. After all, losing the Four Seas means losing the participating countries of the Four Seas. The world government and the franchised countries have never had a master-slave relationship. The secret competition is very fierce, and it represents the resistance of the franchise countries to the world government and their desire to escape from the control of the world government. The world is suffering and the sky is filled with gold for a long time. Supporting the Four Seas Navy is only one way, and now all the participating countries have begun to look for a way out. Strengthening the kingdom's military strength is one way to shift the direction to another track. No one will put their hopes on the same path, and many of the participating countries are prepared to suppress the navies of the four seas. Even admirals from all over the world noticed this when they were transferred to the Great Line. The four seas navy might be a pawn used by the participating countries to test the world government. Deep political planning uses the world as a chessboard. The Navy headquarters' belief in suppressing the four sea navies is unchangeable and has received the full support of the world government, although there may be unpredictable negative effects. Compared with the possible consequences, everything is worth it. Compared with the sharp-edged Messi and Ronaldo, Cap and warring states, it seems that their sharp edges have been concealed. In fact, it is to keep a low profile and to protect them. Sengoku was training with Sora, Tsuru was training with the staff, and Garp was basically letting loose. Let him deal with what he calls his lifelong enemy, the newly rising great pirate Roger Pirates. At the same time, they are also secretly suppressing the promotion speed of Garp and warring states. After all, the previous promotion speed was quite conspicuous, and now they need to keep a low profile and bide their time. This can avoid the sea's gaze as much as possible and give them enough time to grow. Otherwise, given Garp's character, there's no telling what might happen suddenly. This is also what we want to see. The more famous Messi and Ronaldo become, the easier it is for them to become a thorn in the rock's pirate side. The higher they stand, the harder they fall. The Navy's counterattack was more intense than imagined. 4 big pirates in a row were captured by the Navy. Such a result was unprecedented in recent years. The world government and the Navy wantonly publicized the results of the Navy's operation, and newspapers published them to the entire world. The Rock's pirates' counterattack is coming. Looking at the information in the newspaper, Hades's expression did not change. The Navy has never been that weak, and it should be able to fight back. The loss of 4 great pirates was not enough to damage the Rock's pirates. There won't be a next time. The Navy's action only caught the Rock's pirates off guard, and the Rock's pirates would react quickly. Crisis-conscious pirates will not give the Navy another chance to capture orders. Next, the Navy will face a fierce counterattack from the Rock's pirates. The actions of the Rock's pirates heralded the beginning of a new war. The Navy's counterattack means that the Navy is really responding to the challenge, and this war has already broken out. But none of this had anything to do with him. Their destination, Hatchinos, was not far away, only about 3 days away. Soon, Hades will be able to set foot on the land that is so dear to his heart. Titan said nothing and silently followed Hades. His eyes glanced around from time to time. Along the way, they experienced a lot of killings. By now, it was completely within the Rock's pirate sphere of influence. Almost every island, every pirate ship, and even taverns and shops were flying the Rock's pirates' flag. The purpose of Hades and the 2 men can be said to be clear, and their every move has caught the eyes of many people. There are many people who secretly stir up troubles and test people. Of course, the final result is death under the Titan's hammers. The boring temptation just gave them another batch of corpses in their hands. It seems that the record of Kent Island did not convince all the pirates. Kill me. Hades' purple pupils flashed with a look of death. It doesn't matter if they are hostile or not, they just want to kill until everyone is convinced. Kill them with fear, and bring out their majesty. He never felt any psychological burden from killing pirates. Besides, there are titans to do it for them. In this sea, prestige has always been earned through fighting. The future non-killing general will pay a ridiculous price. The journey from Kent Island to Hatchinos is also the process of Hades accumulating fame. With a swish sound, Titan had already rushed into the distance. No reason is needed, just a word from Hades. Along the way, Hades and Titan's feet were filled with bones, and more than 10 pirates had been destroyed in Titan's hands. The unreasonable killing and extremely domineering style has spread. The scared pirates had already hid far away. There are many pirates who are approaching with confidence, and there are even many pirates who are looking and watching. Hades was fed up with being looked at like a monkey. In fact, he didn't care, he just gave himself a reason in his heart. He admitted that in his own eyes, he did not regard these remnants as human beings. Along the way, sinful behaviors can be seen everywhere, which made him truly understand what I am like to the vast majority of pirates in this sea. But do you need a reason to kill? What's more, they're just a bunch of dregs from the ocean. He is learning how to be a qualified pirate. Chapter 70 Hatchinos. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The atmosphere of the Rock Pirates is as good as ever. They were not saddened by the news that their companions had been captured by the Navy. However, everyone knows it clearly in their hearts. With the character of his own captain, it would be impossible for him to endure such humiliation. Lox D. Jibek, seemingly tolerant of ship rules, seems to have no regard for what is happening on the ship and maintains a certain degree of freedom, and the absolute hegemony based on the ship's regulations does not allow anyone to disobey his will. Faced with the provocation of the navy, sooner or later he would have to come back with severe revenge, but the time has not come yet. A new round of recruitment for the Rocks pirates is about to begin, and it will be another feast. Hatchinos is a pirate paradise, with everything you need to have fun, but if you enjoy it too much, it will feel a little boring. Like the annual recruitment activities, the fierce fighting and fighting will make people feel full of interest. The pirates who were selected by the Rocks pirates in the previous year will also become interested in the New Year's pirates. This time of year is a carnival for Hatchinos. Even some official crew members of the Rocks pirates will join in to make it more difficult for the new pirates. Of course, there are many cases of cars being flipped over by newcomers. Facing the Navy's surprise attack, the members of Hatchinos' Rocks pirate group were not in a hurry, but the affiliated pirate groups outside were a little panicked. Whether it is the Demolition pirates or the Grizzly pirates, they are among the best among the pirate groups affiliated with the Rocks pirates. Even they were defeated. If the Navy targeted them, how could they escape? In this case, even if the Rocks pirates got the news and sent reinforcements, it would be useless because they would not be able to rescue them in time. Even the Werewolf pirates, the Gold pirates, and the Violent pirates, three pirate groups led by the three kings of the Rocks pirates, are somewhat uneasy. The most powerful one is the Rocks pirates. If the Navy wants to deal with them, it will not be difficult, especially now that the New World Navy has so many terrifying combat capabilities. Only by returning to the territory of the Rocks pirates can we feel safe. Pirates have a strong sense of crisis. After the news spread, the pirate groups that were originally wandering around all turned their attention to Hatchinos, or approached the waters around Hatchinos. They should try their best to stay away from the Navy's sphere of influence, and stay in sea areas where the Navy dare not approach easily to prevent the Navy from targeting them. Even the three kings returned to Hatchinos. The Navy's operation was successful, but it also led to a surge in the number of pirates on Hatchinos Island. The distribution range of the pirate groups affiliated with the Rocks pirates is smaller and more concentrated. This also means that the cohesion of the Rocks pirates is stronger, and it is easier for Rocks D. Jibak to summon all the pirates. It can gather all the power of the Rocks pirates in a shorter period of time, turn it into a war machine at any time, and can explode with amazing power at any time. For the Navy, the Rocks pirates will become even more difficult to deal with. This island is really boring. Stepping onto the port of Hatchinos Island, Hades had a preliminary impression of the island. Madness, fighting, betrayal, and conspiracy coexist. The unspeakable underground transactions seem to gather all the filth in the world. Some things are done openly, with no hidden meaning at all. This is the center of the new world, the center of pirates, and the gathering place of evil. Perhaps the only place in the world where the celestial dragons live can be compared to this place. With the arrival of Hades and to attract others' attention, the pirates were busy fighting for their own interests. Besides, there are too many famous pirates on this island. Hades wouldn't be noticeable at all if he put it in. Kill those idiots and grab all their treasures. That the two pirates began to fight openly for a part of the treasure. Many people are watching secretly, hoping to reap the benefits. There are too many such things on this island, especially after the Rocks pirates return from plundering the kingdom of Crodia. Those who are not satisfied with the amount of treasure they have obtained will naturally set their sights on others. And this is the culture of Hatchinos, the rules of the Rocks pirates. Where strength is everything, as long as he is not an important combat force of the Rocks pirates, Rocks D. Jibek doesn't care about the life and death of others. Ha 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 ha, this woman belongs to me. This kind of place is not for brats like you. I don't know, the so-called brats are always yelling, so they can only show off with their mouths. I've seen a lot of you wastes over the years. I'll give you a piece of advice. After you come to this island, just keep your head down and live for a while. Then you will know exactly what level you are in. The strong man with a sinewy face and a strong body, like bullying a child, stabbed several foreign pirates who didn't know the heights of the world and sent them to the west. Most of the pirates watching had amusement on their faces, with no trace of pity in their eyes. On this island, these dead guys are not even qualified to leave their bodies, even waste has its uses, the organs on their bodies can be removed and used as cargo. If nothing else, just feed their flesh and blood directly to the ferocious beasts in the arena as food. Are you going to kill them all? Your Highness. After hearing what Hades said, Titan's hands felt a little itchy again. Along the way, he was either on the way to kill or on the way to kill. The name Blood Guard has begun to spread. Forget it, let's keep a low profile. No, keep killing. Originally, Hades didn't want to be troublesome, but before he finished speaking, he suddenly stopped and changed his attitude. Titan's words were not concealed at all, and his loud voice could be heard hundreds of meters away. The air was very quiet, and the eyes fell on the two of them, and their eyes became very unkind. A strong murderous intent emerged in the air. Hades was a noble. This identity was not hidden from the beginning, which naturally made the pirate somewhat hostile. The arrogant attitude makes people feel extremely unhappy.